Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first Ask Chef Alex Live of 2022. I'm your host, Chef Alex Cardinale, and I'm excited to answer all of your cooking and baking questions tonight. So, this is our third or fourth edition of Ask Chef Alex Live, but it's my first of 2022. And this is my first cooking and baking episode of 2022 as well. So I have an action-packed episode in store for you tonight, as well as answering all of your cooking and baking questions. I, Chef Alex Cardinale, am going to ask you questions as well. And then I've got some awesome cooking and baking topics in store for you, as well as some delicious recipes. My cooking topic today is going to be on making chicken stock and beef stock. I'm going to explain what stock is and how to make stock, and I'm going to tell you what you could use your homemade chicken or beef stock for. My baking tips today are going to be perfect, healthy dessert options. So if you're on a diet like me and you still have a sweet tooth, I'm going to give you some great dessert options. And my recipes today are going to be my homemade Italian wedding soup, my homemade applesauce, and then I'm going to tell you how you can spice up homemade waffles with your waffle maker and how to pump your waffles up and make some out of this world waffles. So as you can imagine, I've got an action-packed episode of Ask Chef Alex Live to kickstart 2022. So this should be a very fun one. We should see if we get any live questions. So before we begin, I want to thank everybody who is watching this video, whether you're watching me live or you're catching a replay of today's video. I appreciate your view nonetheless. All right. So, do you have any cooking or baking questions that you want answered? If you do, post them in the comments and I will answer them live here on the video. Do you prefer to ask your question in person? That's totally fine as well. Want to come up here virtually? Click the link in the chat and you can come on here and ask your questions in person, which is definitely fun, and I would love that as well. So if you're watching a replay of today's video and you have cooking or baking questions you want answered, just post them in the comment section of YouTube, and I will answer them. And if you're watching live, post them in the comment section as well. Or you could click this link, which is in the YouTube description, the Facebook description, and in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. With all that being said, let's get started. And we're going to start with my first segment, which we did in October, November, and December, and that is Chef Alex Ask You. So, my first question: what are your favorite dishes to make? What would you like to learn how to cook? And what is your favorite comfort foods? Write your answers in the comments, or you can come up here live to respond to the questions that I'm asking you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and answer my questions in the hopes that you will start submitting your questions and your answers to my questions. So, what are my favorite dishes to make? Well, one of them is chicken parmesan. As a matter of fact, chicken parmesan was the very first dish that I ever cooked. And it's one that I really, really love. It's a childhood favorite food and a childhood favorite meal. I love chicken parm. I also love making chicken marsala and chicken francaise, which are two Italian dishes. Chicken marsala is made with marsala wine, mushrooms, chicken stock, which we're going to learn about today, and it's also made with marsala wine, which is awesome. I like cooking with marsala wine. Now, for desserts, I like making bread pudding, especially Texas Roadhouse dinner roll bread pudding. I like making red velvet cake, all sorts of cookies, and all sorts of cakes. What would I like to learn how to cook? Well, I personally would like to learn how to cook Asian food. I love Chinese food, and I would love to learn how to make authentic Asian food and Asian cuisine, except for sushi. I will never eat sushi. Sushi looks absolutely disgusting in my personal opinion, and I just can't fathom the thought of eating raw fish. I also would like to learn how to make pizza properly and calzones properly as well. Also, I would like to learn how to make Spanish cuisine. I like Spanish rice and some of the Spanish meat dishes that are out there. But everything else I pretty much know how to make. And what is my favorite comfort foods? Simple: Italian and American. I love pretty much anything Italian except for tiramisu, and I love pretty much everything American. I like pizza, I like pasta, I like chicken parm, I like fried chicken, I like ribeye steaks, prime rib, macaroni and cheese. I like a lot of food, so I have a lot of favorite comfort foods, but my favorites are chicken parm, pasta, pizza, burgers, steak, and for desserts, I like chocolate chip cookies, M&M cookies, bread pudding, red velvet cake, eclairs, and cannolis. All right, so now I await your answers and your questions as well. So while we wait, we are going to get to our very first topic tonight, and that is my cooking tips. So let's get right to it, folks. Here are my cooking tips for January 2022. It's time for my first cooking tips of 2022. And for this month's edition of Ask Chef Alex Live, I'm going to be bringing you some old school cooking tips. And by old school, I mean some of the basic fundamentals that I was taught in culinary school. One of the first things that I learned about in culinary school, besides knife safety and food safety, was how to make a good, simple stock. And by stock, I'm talking about chicken stock, beef stock, seafood stock, and vegetable stock. Now, stocks are very similar to what we call a broth. Both of these are used to make soups and sauces, gravies, and more. A stock is made with meat bones and vegetables, and a broth is made with meat and vegetables. Now, you can save yourself a lot of money and sodium by making your very own stocks in your own kitchen. Stocks are really simple to make, and they're really good to use in soups and sauces and all that other good stuff. So today I'm going to tell you what a stock is, what to use stocks for, and how to make homemade stocks in this month's cooking tips. So let's get started. Stock is sometimes called bone broth. It is a savory cooking liquid that forms the basis of many dishes, particularly soups, stews, and sauces. Making stock involves simmering animal bones, meat, seafood, or vegetables in water or wine, often for an extended period. Mirepoix or other aromatics may be added for more flavor. Mirepoix would be onions, celery, and carrots. Traditionally, stock is made by simmering various ingredients in water. A newer approach is to use a pressure cooker. The ingredients may include some or all of the following: bones. Beef and chicken bones are most commonly used, but fish is also common. The flavor of the stock comes from the bone marrow, cartilage, and other connective tissue. Connective tissue contains collagen, which is converted into gelatin that thickens the liquid. Stock made from bones needs to be simmered for long periods. Pressure cooking methods shorten the time necessary to extract the flavor from the bones. The next ingredient in stocks is meat. Cooked meat still attached to bones is also used as an ingredient, especially with chicken stock. Meat cuts with a large amount of connective tissue, such as shoulder cuts, are also used. Mirepoix. Mirepoix is a combination of onions, carrots, celery, and sometimes other vegetables added to the flavor added to flavor the stock. Sometimes the less desirable parts of the vegetables that may not otherwise be eaten, such as carrot sticks and celery cores and leaves, are used as the solids are removed from stock. Herbs and spices are ingredients that can be used in stocks. The herbs and spices used depend on availability and local traditions. In classic cuisine, the use of a bouquet garni or bag of herbs consisting of parsley, bay leaves, a sprig of thyme, and possibly other herbs is common. This is often placed in a sachet to make it easier to remove once the stock is cooked. Basic stocks are usually named for the primary meat type. A distinction is usually made between fond blanc or white stock, which is made by using raw bones and mirepoix, and fond brun or brown stock, which gets its color by roasting the bones and mirepoix before boiling. The bones may also be coated in tomato paste before roasting. Chicken is most commonly used for fond blanc, while beef or veal are most commonly used in fond blanc. How to make homemade chicken stock. Method 1. Stock with leftover bones from a roasted chicken. You will need leftover bones and skin from one large cooked or raw chicken carcass or from two rotisserie chickens. You're going to need celery tops and one large celery rib cut into 2-inch segments. You'll need one large unpeeled onion quartered, one carrot cut into 2-inch segments, one bunch of parsley, the stems and leaves. You'll need salt to taste and black pepper to taste. Put the leftover bones and skin from the chicken carcass into a large stock pot. Add vegetables like celery, onions, carrots, and parsley. Cover with water. Add salt and pepper to taste. About a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of pepper. Bring to a boil and reduce to a simmer. Bring to a boil and immediately reduce heat to bring the stock to barely a simmer. Simmer partially covered at least 4 hours, occasionally skimming off any foam that comes to the surface. This next step is optional. You can concentrate the stock. If making stock for future use, you may want to reduce the stock by simmering an hour or two longer to make it more concentrated and easier to store. Strain the stock. Remove the bones and vegetables with a slotted spoon or a spider ladle and strain the stock through a fine mesh sieve. Method 2. Chicken stock with raw chicken backs, wings, and or legs. You'll need 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 4 to 5 pounds of chicken wings, back, and or legs, skin on, trimmed of excess fat, hacked with a cleaver into 2-inch pieces. You can ask your butcher to do this for you. 1 large unpeeled onion quartered, 1 carrot cut into 2-inch segments, 1 large rib celery, plus 1 handful leafy celery tops cut into 2-inch segments, 1 bunch of parsley, stems and leaves, leek or green onions if you have them, 1 bay leaf, 6 quarts of cold water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and that's your ingredients. You're going to cook the chicken in a stock pot. So coat the bottom of a large 12-quart stock pot with olive oil. Place half of the chicken pieces skin side down in the bottom of the pot. Heat on medium high and let it cook until the chicken is browned. Add the rest of the chicken pieces and cook, occasionally stirring until the chicken is no longer pink. Add the aromatics and vegetables. Add the onion, carrot, celery, parsley, leek or green onions, and bay leaf to the pot. Cover with 6 quarts of cold water. Bring to a boil and reduce to a simmer. Bring to a boil on high heat and reduce to a low simmer. If scum rises to the surface of the pot, this usually happens in the first half hour of cooking, skim off with a large metal spoon. Let simmer uncovered at a low simmer for 4 to 6 hours. Check every hour or so to be sure there is still enough water in the pot. If the water is evaporating too quickly, lower the heat or add a bit more water. Remove the solids. Use a large metal spoon with holes in it or a spider ladle to ladle out the cooked chicken and vegetables. Don't eat them, they're not really good to eat. After 4 hours of cooking, most of the flavor and nutrients have been cooked out of them and are now in the stock. Discard. Strain the stock. Use a large sieve lined with dampened cheesecloth or a dampened paper towel, or if you're using a very fine mesh sieve, no need to line, and place over a large bowl or another large pot. Pour the stock through the sieve into the bowl or pot to strain out any remaining solids. Divide and store. And that is how to make easy chicken stock. Now let's talk about making beef stock. The trick with making a perfect beef stock is to roast the bones first to get some caramelized flavor going. Then to slowly heat them in water until a bare simmer, and then let them cook that way gently for a good long time. With beef stock, it helps to include some beef scraps or stew meat, as well as aromatic vegetables and herbs. Also, a few veal bones will help provide gelatin to the stock. So here's the ingredients for beef stock. Real simple. 4 to 5 pounds of meaty beef stock bones with lots of marrow, including some knuckle bones if possible, cut to expose the center marrow, and include at least a couple of veal bones if you can for their gelatin. 1 pound of stew meat, which can be chuck or flank steak, and or beef scraps cut into 2-inch chunks, olive oil, 1 to 2 medium onions quartered, 1 to 2 large carrots cut into 1 to 2 inch segments, 1 large celery rib cut into 1 inch segments or a handful of celery tops, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic unpeeled, handful of fresh parsley, including stems and leaves, 1 to 2 bay leaves, and 10 peppercorns. Roast the meat, bones, and vegetables. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Rub a little olive oil over the stew meat pieces, carrots, and onions. Place stock bones, stew meat, or beef scraps, carrots, and onions in a large, shallow roasting pan. Roast in the oven for about 45 minutes, turning the bones and meat pieces halfway through the cooking until nicely browned. If bones begin to char at all during this cooking process, lower the heat. They should brown, not burn. When the bones and meat are nicely browned, remove them and the vegetables and place them all in a large 12 to 16 quart stock pot. Add hot water and scrape up the brown bits. Place the roasting pan on the stove top on low heat, and that's going to cover 2 burners. Pour half cup to 1 cup of hot water over the pan and use a metal spatula to scrape up all of the brown bits stuck to the bottom of the pan. Pour the brown bits and water into the stock pot. Add vegetables, water, and bring to a low simmer. Add celery tops, garlic, parsley, bay leaves, and peppercorns to the stock pot. Fill the stock pot with cold water to 1 to 2 inches over the top of the bones. Put the heat on high and bring the pot to a low simmer. Reduce the heat to low. Cover the pot loosely and let simmer low and slow for 3 to 6 hours. Do not stir the stock while cooking. Stirring will mix the fats in with the stock, clouding up the stock. Skim scum and fat. As the stock cooks, fat will be released from the bone marrow and stew meat and rise to the top. From time to time, check in on the stock and use a large metal spoon to scoop away the fat and any scum that rises to the surface. Remove solids and strain. At the end of cooking time, 3 hours minimum, 6 to 8 hours if you can do it, use a slotted spoon or spider ladle to gently remove the bones, chunks of meat, and vegetables from the pot and discard. Let cool to room temperature, then chill in the refrigerator. Once the stock has chilled, any fat remaining will have risen to the top and solidified, and thus making it easier for you to remove of the fat off of the beef stock. And that is how you can make a simple yet delicious beef stock. So there you have it. Those are my tips on how to make delicious chicken and beef stock. Now, if you're making a fish stock or a vegetable stock, the idea is the same, except you'll use fish, and except for using meat, you'll use just vegetables. Trust me, you'll save yourself lots of money and time if you make your own stock. You're going to save yourself a lot of sodium as well. A lot of the stocks that you buy at the grocery store are full of salt, which is bad. I am going to start making my own stocks again. It's fun, but also easy. I don't have to buy store-bought stocks anymore or worry about sodium. So, what can you use stocks for? Well, one of the best things about stock is that you can make rice with stock. Instead of using plain water, make rice with either chicken stock or beef stock, and your rice is going to have a better flavor. You could use your stock in homemade sauces like a marsala sauce, Francais sauce, a wine sauce, etc. You could use the stock as a base for your soups like chicken noodle soup, Italian wedding soup, which is the recipe I'm going to give you tonight. Later on here on Ask Chef Alex Live, tortellini soup, etc. And I like to flavor my pasta with stock. I'll put a little bit of stock in with the pasta before I mix it with the sauce, and it tastes really, really good. So that is this month's cooking tips. Now you know what a stock is and how to make stock at home. The question is, will you make a stock instead of buying them at the grocery store? All right, so there you have it. Now you know how to make a delicious homemade stock in your kitchen. That was this month's edition of cooking tips with Chef Alex. So I want to remind everybody, if you have any cooking or baking questions that you want me to answer, just post them down in the comments below and I will answer them. And if you want to appear live to ask me any cooking or baking questions, you can do that as well. So I'll answer all your questions, whether I'm live or you're catching the replay of today's video. I look forward to answering all of your questions. So we're going to get to our first recipe in just a second here on Ask Chef Alex Live. But I would like to remind everybody that I, Chef Alex, will be appearing on the 2022 Valentine's Bash, and I'll be making red velvet waffles with cream cheese icing and a chocolate lava cake, which is a delicious dessert. Now, if you've ever been to a restaurant and you've ordered one of those round chocolate cakes, you might know it as a molten cake or a chocolate lava cake. It's a cake that when you put a spoon in it, it melts out and it's served with vanilla ice cream. Well, I'm going to show you how to make that delicious chocolate lava cake on the Valentine's Bash, Saturday, February 12th, 2022, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. So I can't wait to be on the Valentine's Day Bash. I was on the Thanksgiving Bash as well as the Christmas Bash. And now I will be ready for the Valentine's Day Bash, which is going to be awesome. All right, let's get to our first recipe of the evening, which is my Italian wedding soup. And I'll be on standby ready to answer your cooking and baking questions. All right, so now that we know how to make a chicken or beef stock, let's put our knowledge of stock to use. And let's say that we've already made a chicken or beef stock. Now we're going to get into the kitchen and make a delicious homemade soup. So, my first recipe for this month's edition of Ask Chef Alex Live is a recipe that was handed down to me by my great grandmother, and it's for an Italian soup that is one of my personal favorites. This is my Italian wedding soup. Now, Italian wedding soup is a soup that consists of chicken or beef stock, meatballs, spinach, as well as a small pasta and other vegetables. Many chefs add their own secret ingredients, and many other chefs have their own spin on Italian wedding soup. So here is my recipe for Italian wedding soup, which is perfect for the winter and this time of year. Now, personally, I will use either chicken or beef stock. But I find that you could also use a combination of both chicken and beef stock. And if you're going to do that, I recommend using 8 ounces of chicken and 8 ounces of beef stock. You're going to get an awesome flavor. Or you could just use 16 ounces of chicken stock or 16 ounces of beef stock. You're going to need frozen spinach. You could use frozen spinach, it'll save you a lot of work, or you could use fresh spinach if you want. You're also going to need some meatballs. Use your favorite recipe, or in a pinch, you can buy those frozen meatballs. Those frozen meatballs work well in this case as well. But a simple meatball recipe would be a pound of ground beef, 3 eggs, 8 ounces of breadcrumbs, some Parmesan cheese, and mozzarella cheese. You're gonna roll those into combine combine all the meat together, roll them into little balls, either fry them or bake them at 375 for 20 minutes. So you're going to need the meatballs. You're also going to need some small pasta. You could use small shells. You could use a small circular pasta called di latini, or you could even use elbows or penne. Practically any pasta you want will work well for Italian wedding soup. You're also going to need some onions chopped, some carrots chopped, and you could also add celery if you like. And another secret ingredient that I like to add to my Italian wedding soup is sausage, Italian sausage. Those are all the ingredients. So you've got the stock, you've got spinach, you've got the meatballs, you've got the pasta, you've got the carrots, you've got the onions and the celery and sausage. So you're going to uh, cook your sausage and meatballs. Then you're going to take your stock, get it heated, add your spinach and your meatballs and sausage, and you're going to add your vegetables and let that simmer and boil for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then you're going to cook your pasta in the stock and cook it for about 6 to 7 minutes. Take it off the stove and serve. A really fast and easy, delicious Italian wedding soup. Awesome. That was our first recipe of tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not sure why my camera is so foggy, but we'll have to work with it for now. So if you have any cooking or baking questions, again, just post them in the comments and I will be sure to answer them. So before I get to my baking tips, which are going to be my healthy dessert options that I'm going to share with you, I would like to announce a new series that is coming to Cooking and Baking with Alex Cardinale, and that one is going to be airing next Sunday night, which would be January 30th already. Can you believe that? So, next Sunday night, I am going to debut a series called Cooking School with Chef Alex, where I'm going to teach you some topics that you would learn in culinary school. And next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to teach you the basics of cooking. And what I mean by the basics of cooking is I'm going to teach you the fundamentals of things you need to know before you even enter the kitchen. So next Sunday, I'm going to talk about the importance of keeping food safe. I am Serve Safe certified. I am also Florida, whatever it's called here in Florida, to be food safe certified as well. So I know how to keep food safe. I know the proper internal cooking temperatures and all of that good stuff. So next Sunday, I'm going to tell you guys about the importance of keeping food safe. I'm going to talk about important kitchen equipment that you need to cook and bake with. I'm going to talk about the proper cooking temperatures and proper food storage and much more. That's next Sunday, January 30th, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. So that should be a wonderful, wonderful series, and I'm sure it will go over quite well. And I have a lot of people that enjoy my cooking and baking shows. I'm sure a lot of them are going to catch the replay of today's video, and they'll have their questions for me in the comments. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play my baking tip segment, and then we'll get to our second recipe, and then I'll give the third recipe all consecutively. If we get questions, I will answer the questions after one of these segment ends. But because there's no live audience right now and I'm recording live, I'm just going to finish the video with all the segments that I pre-recorded. That's my Chef Alex's baking tips, healthy dessert options. Then I've got my second recipe, which is my homemade applesauce. And my third recipe is going to be Pump Me Up Waffles, where I tell you how you can revolutionize the waffles that you make in your waffle maker and all that fun stuff. So send your questions in and I will answer them. But for right now, let's get to our pre recorded segments. For all my sweet tooth lovers and dessert lovers out there, just like me, trust me, I, Chef Alex, love desserts. I love red velvet cake. I love cannolis, anything sweet, I love. But if you're on a diet and you still have a sweet tooth, there are some desserts that you can have, believe it or not. Not every dessert is loaded with sugar, or not every dessert is overly sweet. There are ways where you can cut corners and still enjoy a sweet treat every now and then. Now, I myself this year am looking to cut back a little bit on eating sweets and desserts. I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that I eat them in moderation, even if that means that I have a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit in between. So, right now, on this month's baking tips, I'm going to give you some healthy dessert options, which are perfect for those of us that are on a diet, especially coming off the holiday season, the Christmas season, where we all binged on freshly baked homemade cookies. I'm sure many of us were gifted cookies as a treat. And I especially love cookies around the Christmas season, so I ate a lot of them. And I also love red velvet cake around that time of year, so I eat a lot of that as well. But now that we're in January and we're quickly approaching February and spring, we want to lose as much weight as we can, but there are a couple of desserts out there that can be a little bit on the healthier side. My first example of a healthy dessert option is fruit. Fruits like apples, strawberries, peaches, bananas, lemon, and oranges are all sweet enough that you can turn them into a dessert without adding a lot of sugar. For example, you could make apple crisp with oats, a little bit of sugar, like a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and flour. Apple crisp goes great with frozen yogurt or a low fat vanilla ice cream. The same thing applies to peach cobbler. You could serve that with frozen yogurt or low fat um, vanilla ice cream. Now, some people might not consider this a dessert, but I do, especially when I make it homemade. Applesauce. Applesauce is a great dessert, especially if you add a little bit of cinnamon, a mixture of cinnamon sugar, just a little. It tastes like an awesome dessert. And of course, in moderation, some fruit pies like a strawberry pie, an apple pie, or a peach cobbler pie are great desserts as well. So anything with fruits in it is a good dessert. Stay away from the canned fruits because the canned fruits tend to have a lot of added sugar to them. So if you're going to make your own fruit desserts, let's say for example, you are making apple crisp or a peach cobbler, you're going to want to use either fresh apples and fresh peaches or frozen apples and frozen peaches. Just stay away from the canned crap as it has a lot of added sugar that our body does not need. Another good healthy dessert would be a simple carrot cake where the ingredients are carrots, and carrots are a vegetable that have a lot of sugar in them. So, carrots, a little tiny bit of sugar, maybe about a quarter cup of sugar, a smaller amount of brown sugar, and that would be a good carrot cake with cream cheese icing. Strawberry cake would be another perfect, healthy dessert option. You could do like a dark chocolate pudding or a regular chocolate pudding as a dessert option. Puddings are a great, healthy dessert option as well. Jello is an old school, old fashioned healthy dessert option as well. A lot of doctors will recommend Jello as like a nice sweet treat. And I too like Jello, but only on special occasions. And it is okay every now and then to have a chocolate chip cookie or whatever your favorite dessert is, as long as you eat them in moderation. So I hope I gave you some healthy dessert options. Again, fruit desserts are perfect this time of year. Carrot cake, strawberry cake, anything with a reduced amount of sugar is a great healthy dessert option. So enjoy those fruity desserts. And on Valentine's Day, you can have a slice of red velvet cake or whatever your heart desires. My next recipe is perfect for everybody who loves apples like I do. If you love applesauce, I'm going to teach you how to make a homemade applesauce that is a lot better than any canned applesauce that you purchase from your grocery store. Now, like I said earlier, I consider homemade applesauce, especially as soon as it's off the stove, to be considered as a snack or a dessert. But this applesauce can also be a side dish accompanied by pork chops or a pork roast or other types of meat, etc. So here is my recipe for applesauce. You're going to need 4 apples. You can use any apples of your choice. I like to use one Granny Smith, one Macintosh, and then I just throw in any 2 that I have left. And you're going to peel them, core them, and chop them. You're going to need 3/4 of a cup of water, a 1/4 cup of white sugar, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. In a saucepan, combine apples, water, sugar, and cinnamon, and cover and cook over medium heat for 15 to 20 minutes or until apples are soft. Allow that to cool for about 10 minutes, and then you're going to mash with a fork or a potato masher, and that's it. That's how simple it is. No additives or preservatives that are added into it like you get from your grocery store applesauce. Real simple, real delicious. That's how I like it. And for a little bit more of a sweeter taste, you can combine 1 tablespoon of sugar with a teaspoon of cinnamon, mix it up, and then sprinkle it over the top, and you've got a delicious dessert. Now that's what I'm talking about, folks. A real delicious applesauce. So my final recipe for tonight is going to be like another baking tip segment, because I'm going to give you some cool tips on how to pump up your waffles or revolutionize your waffles. So for Christmas, my mother gave me a waffle maker, which I really like because I like having homemade waffles and I like making homemade waffles. Don't get me wrong, Eggo waffles were part of my childhood and they're one of my favorite comfort foods. But I really love homemade waffles. They're nice and spongy, they're nice and cakey, they're very fluffy, and they are delicious. And you can control the amount of sugar that goes into them. So this recipe I'm going to call Pump Me Up Waffles. Here are some cool ideas on how you can spice up your waffle game in the kitchen. These are going to be dessert waffles. Yes, that's right, folks. Dessert waffles are a thing in 2022, and they are very delicious. Now, on our Valentine's Day bash on Saturday, February 12th, I'm going to show you how to make one dessert waffle. Also, it could be a breakfast waffle, but it's more of a dessert waffle. I'm going to show you how to make red velvet waffles, which is going to be awesome. So, here are some dessert waffle ideas. First up, we've got brownie waffles. Simply take brownie batter and put it into your waffle maker. You may need to add a little bit of flour to your brownie batter depending on how runny it is. If it is super watery and super runny, then I recommend adding about a tablespoon of flour or a little bit more until you got a nice waffle-like batter. Then pour that chocolate batter, the brownie batter, into the waffle maker and cook until the waffle maker ready sign reads ready. Then take it out, and you can make it a step further by making it a brownie waffle sundae by topping it with your favorite ice cream. Up next, we're going to take regular waffle batter and cook our regular waffles as we normally would. And as our waffles are cooking in the waffle maker, we are going to slice up some bananas and we're going to melt some butter in a saute pan on a skillet. And we're going to put in our banana slices and we're going to add about a cup of sugar. We're going to let that cook together, flipping it constantly, and you've got bananas Foster waffles, which are really, really good. Next up, we've got cereal waffles. You can turn regular waffle batter into a breakfast icon by adding cereal to your waffle batter. You can add fruity pebbles or cocoa pebbles, tricks, or Fruit Loops into your waffle batter. Then we've got red velvet waffles, which you can make by using red velvet cake mix. You've got chocolate waffles, which you can make by using chocolate cake mix. And last but not least, you've got funfetti waffles, which you could use a vanilla cake mix with sprinkles and put that into the waffle maker. Now, if you're making a cake waffle, red velvet, funfetti, or chocolate, then make a nice cream cheese icing, and that is perfect to serve with your waffles. Pump it up, folks, and those are ways to pump up your waffle game. All right, so that was our final awesome recipe for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the first Q&A of 2022 for Ask Chef Alex Live. I do have a question that's a little bit off topic, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it. One of my awesome subscribers is asking me, how did you react to the San Francisco 49ers victory? I actually missed the 49ers win because I am hosting this episode right here. But I am actually happy that the San Francisco 49ers won. I, for one, am not a Green Bay Packers fan, and especially I am not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think he runs his mouth a little bit too much. And I think this year he added a lot more pressure than he needed to have when he said he was going to take his team to the Super Bowl and they were going to be the best team in the NFC. I remember he said that around October, November. And the Green Bay Packers did play really well, but when it comes time to when they need to play their best, he choked again, and Aaron Rodgers proves he always chokes in the playoffs. So I'm glad to see that the Packers season is done. They're one and done, and they're gone. So now I'm looking forward to the NFC Championship game. I think it's going to be the 49ers taking on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of the reasons I say it's going to be the Niners and the Buccaneers is because Tom Brady has an excellent record in the postseason and in the playoffs, and I don't see any way that the Rams can defeat the Buccaneers tomorrow night or actually tomorrow afternoon. So I know for a fact that it's going to be the Niners and the Bucks. And if I had to make a prediction, I would say the Buccaneers are going to go to Super Bowl 56 again. So actually quite happy that the Bucks don't have to take on the Packers again because Aaron Rodgers would be torn to have been defeated by Tom Brady 2 times in back-to-back years in the postseason. That would be quite embarrassing if I was uh, Aaron Rodgers. Thanks, Chef Alex. Love your recipes. Not a problem. I enjoy giving out my recipes. I hope you get to try them, and I hope you enjoy them. And that goes for everybody that watches my channel. I hope you enjoy all of my delicious recipes. So if you guys are watching the replay of this video, just post your questions in the comments, and I will answer them. And I'll also answer them on next month's Q&A. So next month's Q&A is going to air on February 9th. 2022, and that's going to be for a very special reason. Next month's Q&A is going to be Valentine's themed as well as Super Bowl 56 themed. So I will answer your Valentine's Day cooking and baking questions as well as your Super Bowl party questions. I'm going to have a lot of Super Bowl party topics and Valentine's topics. So if you have any cooking or baking questions related to Valentine's or Super Bowl party, email them to alexgoyankeescardinale19@gmail.com, and I will answer them on February 9th, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. You could also film a video and email it to me, and I will play your video file on the Ask Chef Alex Live, February 2022. And don't forget, I will be appearing on the Valentine's Bash to make red velvet waffles and chocolate lava cake. And next Sunday, I'm debuting a new series here on Cooking and Baking with Alex Cardinale. I'll be doing Cooking School with Chef Alex, and that's next Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. With that being said, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more legendary content. I'm Chef Alex Cardinale, and you've been watching Ask Chef Alex Live here on the legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. Good night, everybody. Hey everyone, it's your favorite man, legendary Alex Cardinale here. Love is in the air. Why is that? Well, Valentine's is right around the corner. I cordially invite you to be a part of the inaugural Valentine's 2022 Bash, hosted by me, the man you love, legendary Alex Cardinale. Come be a part of the inaugural Valentine's Day Bash live Saturday, February 12th, 2022 at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Come celebrate Valentine's in style with me, legendary Alex Cardinale. I have a lot of fun action planned on Valentine's weekend with the Valentine's Bash. Chef Alex Cardinale is going to make an appearance on the Valentine's Bash. You can see Chef Alex Cardinale make a perfect Valentine's breakfast as he makes red velvet waffles with a delicious cream cheese icing that is going to make your mouth water, really delicious. And I'll also make my homemade chocolate lava cakes. Chef Alex will appear on the Valentine's 2022 Bash, and you can only see Alex make the red velvet waffles with the cream cheese icing and the homemade chocolate lava cakes on Valentine's Bash on Saturday, February 12th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. Also planned for the Bash, I will discuss my ideal soulmate. I will discuss fun Valentine's Day activities that you and your partner can do on Valentine's Day and more. So this is going to be an awesome night for love and fun. Happy Valentine's, everybody. Join me live Saturday, February 12th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific right here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. Yeehaw! Legendary Alex Cardinale here to invite you to a legendary party. It's the biggest party of the year. March 6, 2014, I created this year's YouTube channel. On March 6, 2022, I will celebrate my 8th year as a YouTuber. And you're invited to the biggest party of the year. Live Sunday, March 6, 2022 at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. It's my 8-year YouTube anniversary, and it airs live exclusively on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. 2 of my 60,000 plus lucky subscribers will win a $80 Texas Roadhouse gift card. All you need to do is be an active subscriber to my channel. That means watch my videos, leave likes, and comments. 8 of my most active subscribers will be put in a drawing, and the 2 that get picked live win the $80 Texas Roadhouse gift card. There will be 4 legendary special guests. 2 of those special guests will be tropical fish keepers. The first confirmed special guest is Bob from Aquatic Rarities in Boca Raton, Florida. Bob is the owner of Aquatic Rarities, aka Malone's Monsters. I am proud to announce the interview will be filmed from his fish store, Aquatic Rarities, which is going to be awesome. There's going to be an appearance from legendary Alex Cardinale, Aqua Alex Cardinale, Chef Alex Cardinale, and WWE fanboy Alex Cardinale. Mick Foley has nothing on me. You will see the 4 personas of Alex Cardinale. Chef Alex Cardinale will show you how to cook a delicious medium rare prime rib, and he'll be baking a Twix cheesecake and Reese's peanut butter cake to celebrate 8 years as a YouTuber. Aqua Alex Cardinale will discuss all the fish species he's kept over the past 8 years, and he'll have other fish keeping surprises for you as well. WWE fanboy Alex Cardinale discusses his dream WWE WrestleMania 38 card. Where will the celebration be held? Where will I broadcast live from? Well, you can only find out if you tune in live. What other surprises will there be? Why will this be the biggest party of the year? You gotta tune in to find out. The 8-year YouTube anniversary is live Sunday, March 6, 2022, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, only on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. I'll see you for the biggest party of the year. Make sure you are an active subscriber so that you have a chance to win an $80 Texas Roadhouse gift card on my 8-year YouTube anniversary. That means you like my videos, you leave comments, and you're one of my active subscribers.